Hey, Texas Highwayman here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the future Blanco Road Diverging Diamond Interchange, how it will work, and how DDIs improve traffic. The DDI is being built as part of the larger Loop 1604 expansion project. For more information on that, see my other video about that project. The link is down in the description. DDIs are a fairly new innovation here in the US. The first one was built in Springfield, Missouri in 2009, but they have been in use in France since the 1970s. Today, there are well over 100 DDIs in the United States, and Popular Science magazine named it one of their 100 best innovations in 2009. Okay, so let's take a look at what a DDI is and how it differs from a standard intersection. Here's the layout of a standard access road cross-street interchange, such as the Blanco Road intersection. Here you see we have the two directions of Blanco Road, we have the two directions of access roads, turnarounds, and the Loop 1604 main lanes, which in this case pass underneath Blanco. And here is the layout for a DDI intersection. Again, we have the two directions of Blanco, the two directions of access roads, and the turnarounds, the Loop 1604 main lanes passing underneath. But you'll notice here in the middle that the main lanes for Blanco actually are crossing over Loop 1604 in the opposite direction as they do in a standard intersection. You'll also notice that the access roads actually do not go completely through the intersection in this case. And we'll talk more about that and how all that works in just a second. So let's take a look at how traffic flows through each of the intersections. Here's the traffic flow for Blanco in a conventional intersection, which is what you have today. So if you're on northbound Blanco, you can come along here, you can make the right turn onto the eastbound access road, or you can cross over the bridge and make the left turn onto the westbound access road, which crosses you in front of that southbound Blanco traffic. Or of course, you can continue north on Blanco here. And then of course, the same thing in the reverse for the southbound lanes. And here's the traffic flow for Blanco in a DDI. And what you'll notice is that the traffic on Blanco crisscrosses as it crosses over Loop 1604. So for example, if you're on northbound Blanco, you can still make that right-hand turn here to the eastbound access road. However, if you're going straight, you'll actually cross over to the opposite side as you cross over Loop 1604. When you get to this point, if you want to make that left-hand turn onto the westbound access road, you do so here. If you're continuing north on Blanco Road, then you'll go ahead and cross back over to the right-hand side and continue on your way here. The same is true on the southbound side. Again, the southbound Blanco traffic can make that right turn onto the westbound access road, or it'll cross over to the opposite side, where it can make the left-hand turn onto the eastbound access road here, or if it's continuing straight on southbound Blanco, it'll cross back over to the right-hand side here and continue on its way. Let's take a look now at the access road traffic flow. Here's the traffic flow for the access roads in a conventional intersection like you have today. So for example, if you're on the eastbound access road, you can turn right onto southbound Blanco, you can go straight, or you can make the left turn and go across the bridge and go north on Blanco. And then the same for the westbound access road. You can go straight, you can make the right turn onto northbound Blanco, or you can make the left turn onto southbound Blanco. And you'll notice those left turns cross in front of the opposing access road left turns, as well as the Blanco road through traffic. And here's the traffic flow for the access roads in a DDI. The first thing you may notice is that the access roads have to turn either left or right. There's no through traffic on the access roads. We'll talk more in a minute about how that's handled. The other thing you may notice is that the left turning access road traffic on one direction does not interfere with the left turning access road traffic on the other direction. And that's one of the things that makes this intersection so efficient. We'll discuss that in more detail in just a minute. As I mentioned a minute ago, there's no through traffic on the access road in a DDI. The access road traffic has to turn either left or right at the intersection. So in order to facilitate that through traffic, what they'll do is they'll build something called an access road bypass. And what that is that's a separate roadway that comes down from the access road, goes underneath the Blanco Road intersection, and then returns to the access road on the opposite side. And they'll do this in both directions, eastbound and westbound. And what that will do is that will allow all that through traffic that's on the access road to completely bypass the intersection, which is also another reason why this intersection actually is more efficient. So right now, I'm sure that a lot of you are thinking that this looks really confusing and is going to be dangerous, but in reality, it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Here's a video on YouTube of someone driving through a DDI in New York. As you can see, the signs, signals, roadway markings, and the angles of the approaches make it fairly intuitive to drive through and help prevent driving the wrong way. In a survey of drivers using a new DDI in Springfield, Missouri, 97% said they felt it was safer than the previous conventional intersection. And accident statistics for multiple DDI installations around the country have shown a reduction in crashes of 37% or more. Finally, it's worth noting that many people thought the displaced left turn intersection at Bandera and Loop 1604 would be difficult and dangerous. But after it opened, the comments on social media were overwhelmingly positive, with many stating that it wasn't nearly as confusing as they thought it would be. So one of the benefits of a DDI is that it significantly reduces congestion, but you may be wondering how. Basically, it comes down to optimizing the traffic patterns by overlapping what would normally be conflicting movements. Doing so then allows engineers to dramatically increase the efficiency of the signals and thus move more traffic in the same amount of time. So first, let's look at how the signals in a conventional intersection work. Because the left turn and through movements on each approach conflict with all the other approaches, only one direction can have green at a time. For example, here we have northbound Blanco with its green, and then the eastbound access road, then southbound Blanco, and then finally the westbound access road. Now, yes, in most cases, there's a little bit of overlap with one of the cross street approaches as one of the access road approaches completes its turn. So, for example, northbound Blanco could start moving as the westbound access road is turning yellow. And so that way, by the time they get across the intersection here, the westbound access road will turn red and then continue straight through. But that overlap is pretty trivial. It's only a few seconds. And so it doesn't really add a whole lot of efficiency to the signals at that intersection. So the upshot is that a conventional intersection needs 4 signal phases to move traffic from all the approaches. Now with a DDI, because you've moved traffic to the left side of the road, it removes the conflict with one of the other approaches. In this case, traffic heading northbound on Blanco no longer conflicts with traffic making that left turn from the westbound access road. As a result, traffic on that westbound access road can start moving through the intersection, while traffic on northbound Blanco is also moving through. This, of course, couldn't happen in a conventional intersection. Now, the access road traffic will probably have to stop here while the northbound Blanco through traffic finishes its turn, but it'll be a brief wait, maybe 10 seconds or so. Then they'll be able to proceed while the northbound Blanco traffic finishes crossing the bridge and crossing back over to the other side. Then the process will repeat itself for the opposite direction. This means that you only need 2 signal phases to move traffic from all the approaches. For example, here's the first phase where you have green for northbound Blanco and for the westbound access road, and then phase 2 where you have green for southbound Blanco and the eastbound access road. As a result, you can move twice as much traffic in the same amount of time as a conventional intersection. It might make more sense if we look at a timeline. First, let's take a look at the timeline at a conventional intersection. Now note that these times are just examples to illustrate the concept and are not necessarily the actual timings. So let's say each phase is 30 seconds, and as we've noted before, it takes 4 phases to service all the approaches at a conventional intersection. So that's a total cycle time of 2 minutes. Now on a DDI, assuming each phase stays at 30 seconds, and since you only need 2 phases to service all the approaches, then that's a total cycle time of just 1 minute. So you can run 2 full cycles in a DDI in the same 2 minutes that a conventional intersection needs to complete just 1 cycle, thereby moving about twice as much traffic. Okay, so let's wrap up by looking at TxDOT's video rendering of what all this will look like. And then we'll put together everything we've talked about so far. All right, we're looking eastbound here. So here's the eastbound access road, and up here is the Blanco intersection. And the first thing I wanted to point out is that access road bypass. So if you're headed eastbound on the access road and you want to continue through the Blanco Road intersection, you'll actually come down on this entrance ramp here, and that will take you down to the bypass, which will take you underneath Blanco Road. And then on the other side, you can either get back off to the access road if you want to continue eastbound, like towards Stone Oak Parkway, or there'll actually be an entrance ramp there onto eastbound Loop 1604, so you can get right onto the freeway at that point. And then the same thing will happen on the westbound side. There'll be a ramp from the access road here. That'll take you under Blanco, and then there'll be a ramp up to the access road here, or a ramp onto westbound Loop 1604 here. Now I want to point out that this video was made back when TxDOT was considering doing the DDI as a separate project, and so you see Loop 1604 with the 2 lanes in each direction. But now, of course, this has been rolled into the larger Loop 1604 expansion project. So when this is all done, there will actually be the 5 lanes in each direction on Loop 1604. So you can ignore this part. But everything else with the DDI is going to be the same as shown in this video. Okay, so let's go over to the Blanco Road intersection and see what's going on there. All right, as you can see already that the northbound Blanco traffic is moving across the bridge here, and the westbound access road traffic is coming across, and they're stopping here, and they'll wait a few seconds while the northbound Blanco traffic finishes. All right, so there you can see the westbound access road traffic moving. At the same time, you'll see the southbound Blanco Road traffic also getting in green, as well as the eastbound access road. They're also getting in green as well. So these green lines are showing the traffic patterns that we had discussed earlier. Yeah, that eastbound access road traffic is now stopped here, waiting for a green light as the southbound Blanco traffic finishes clearing. Now they have a green light, and at the same time they have a green light, you'll notice here that also northbound Blanco now has a green light, and then the westbound access road traffic now has a green light as well. So all those are moving at the same time, and we've completed our first cycle already. As we pivot around here, you'll notice now that the westbound access road is now moving, as well as southbound Blanco again, and then the eastbound access road is coming around. So again, this shows how all those different phases overlap each other, and that's what makes this intersection very efficient. So there you go. Now you know what they're building at Loop 1604 in Blanco, how it will work, and how it will help traffic. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video informative. I plan to have future videos about other major projects around the city, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for more information about this project or other highway projects around San Antonio, or to learn more about San Antonio's highways and their history, check out my website at texashighwayman.com. Until next time, drive safely.